Motorhead Garage, presented by Topcoat, is brought to you by Magic Creeper, the most versatile creeper ever. NH Oil Undercoating, the official oil-based rust prevention system. AAR Forged Wheels, custom-built wheels for dually trucks and show semis. And by Topcoat, the best coatings in the world.
This is Motorhead Garage, presented by Topcoat. Welcome back. If you are a Ford fan, then this segment is for you. And Stifflers chassis and suspension can help you out. Who needs Stifflers, Brian?
Anybody that has a 79 to a 2014 Mustang needs some of our product. We specialize in chassis stiffening because everybody knows that the unibody is flexible. And the more rigid you can make your unibody, the better power you're going to get to the ground, the better handling, the better ride quality and all that. So we manufacture a variety of different items, subframe connectors, tire braces, etc., to help stiffen up the chassis to make the car perform better overall.
A lot of folks like to add power. They just think about that, but they often overlook the chassis. Do you find that that's usually the case?
That is the case 90% of the time plus, where, you know, the first thing everybody wants to do is put more power in their car, whether, you know, car, truck, whatever. But what they're not realizing is the more power that they're putting in, the worse they're actually deforming the unibody or frame in a truck's part. So the first thing that you need to do is stiffen up the car. Once you stiffen up the car, then your suspension's going to perform better, your steering's going to perform better, and you're actually using up more of the power that you already have in there. So instead of spending money on additional power adders, which you're not going to get the full benefit out of, stiffen up the car first, and then you'll get all that much more benefit from the power that you've added.
It's all about efficiency.
It is, absolutely.
Which brings us to the trucks. And I want to talk to you about a video that I've seen online. It is mind-blowing. Tell me what's going on there with that F-150. Okay,
so this was on a Gen 2 Lightning, and we wanted to do a video showing with and without the traction bars and what's really happening underneath there. As they always say, a picture's worth 1,000 words, so the video has to be worth 1,000,000 words. So we put this together, and what you're seeing is once you start to accelerate the vehicle, the rear leaf springs will want to start to deform because it's trying to hold the power that's being, you know, produced from the engine, and the rear tires will begin to hop, and that's causing lack of traction, obviously. So if you keep the rear end from pivoting as it is, you're going to get that traction directly to the ground, and you're going to reduce your 60-foot time in the event of like a drag racer.
Well, the fix is remarkably simple. It comes in the form of this kit, and let's bolt it on.
Okay, let's do that.
Well, your head fabricator, Mike, came along with you, and he said, let me do this. And we said, why not? You get your hands dirty, and you can do the hard work. But it's really not that hard. We didn't tell him. But there's only a couple holes to put in here, one on each side. Am I correct?
Yeah, that's right. One hole on each front bracket, and everything else uses existing holes in the frame.
Gotcha. And this is now where we used a step drill, but you don't need a step drill necessarily.
No, you could go straight to a 9/16 drill bit and drill the hole that way.
Now, the next step, this is really cool. You guys have these nut plates you've developed with the tabs on them, so you don't have to get your fingers inside there, and it's much easier to insert them inside the rail.
Absolutely. It doesn't take but a minute to go ahead and put the nut plate in there and hook up your bolts, and you're good to go.
And just 3 bolts there, you tighten them down and you torque them to spec, and you're ready to move to the rear. And that's where you have the spring retainer plate. We have to remove the one that came from the factory, and you've made a bracket that's just like factory.
Absolutely. You just take the factory plate off and put our bracket on in place of it using the factory U-bolts and nuts, and torque it up, and you're good.
Excellent. Yeah, run those bolts up. Make sure there's the same amount of threads on all the sides so it doesn't sit wonky and everything's balanced and ready to go. Torquing that to spec just like we did on the front. And then now it's time for the rod ends. And tell me about those rod ends you use. They're pretty cool.
The rod ends that we're using are actually made by RideTech. They're all American made. They're cast stainless steel. They're just a dynamite product, and we tend to use the best, and that's what we went with.
Everything you have is made in the USA, right?
Absolutely. Wouldn't do it any other way.
I love that. Then we'll put the front end of the rod in, and we adjust that so we can get the rear to fit on the bracket back there. How much of a trick is that to do?
It's really simple. You just put the front bolt in on the bracket and swing the bar up, adjust the length of it by just rotating it until the rear bolt goes through, and you're good to tighten those up.
And then one last step on the rods, the jam nuts.
Yes, so at the very end, you want to go back and tighten up the jam nuts, and you've completed the installation, just that simple.
And just one final step for Mike here.
He's just going to torque up the rear bolt, and we'll be ready to go.
Excellent. It's one of the most simple performance upgrades you could ever put on your vehicle, and you can get one for yours at buystiflers.com. We'll be right back with more Motorhead Garage presented by Top Coat right after this.